grab several thousand bowls of Nutrigoo and we'll talk about
the initial codes. Part 1. The initial codes. Part 1. The initial codes.
we might be talking about the best episode of Prodigy so far, Time Amok. While there have been a lot of episode names recently that are plays on past episodes, this one actually has seemingly nothing to do with TOS's Amok Time. The premise of the episode seems to have subtle callbacks to TNG's Cause and Effect, Discovery's Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad, and Voyager's Shattered. Though the scripting overall feels like the episode is standing on its own, I think this week's show has the least callbacks of any show so far, and really tries to focus on character development, which it does a superb job of, by the way. Our lead-in to maybe the best team-building episode in the Star Trek franchise is a silly team-building exercise on the holodeck. When they sail down the river of failure, Dahl finally comes clean to Janeway about them not being Starfleet and having stolen the ship. I suspect Janeway's known all along, but is just happy to be active and useful, like the Doctor from Voyager. While checking in on the Diviner, we somehow transmit the specs of Drednok, including his current memory, to Protostar's vehicle replicator from roughly 4,000 light-years away. Not enough for a dislike, since I already sinned the show last week for distance not being as much of a factor as it should be, but this seems like a stretch. The ship soon after encounters a tachyon storm. We've never seen it in a storm form before, but tachyons are a classic Trek trope, synonymous with technobabble that makes weird stuff happen. Apparently one thing it does is mess with gravity, and that's what contains the protostar within the special engine on the ship. The ship blows up, but time has become fractured by the protodrive, and Janeway ends up in another time frame. I'm going to give a like for this awesome holoclock representing the rate that time is moving for each member of the crew, while Janeway and Zero figure out what's going on, and Zero creates the schematics for the MacGuffin Widget X. Or Warp Matrix. Technobabble. I'm going to give a like right now for this whole team-building exercise of one crew member at a time completing a small piece of the puzzle to get them unstuck from the pseudo-time loop. This is just a solidly awesome premise. Anyway, Janeway's next stop is with Murf, who's a bit ill-equipped to put together a complicated device, but too overtly cute to not give a like to for the comic relief scene of this ticking clock plot. Gotta say, Dahl is a character that's gone from annoying to almost amazing in just a handful of episodes. He really shows it here after the second time we've come into him playing video games this season, and Janeway gets him to build Zero's schematic, but it's missing the correct coupler to make it work with the ship, and he only realizes it when it's too late and his time is up. Going to drop 2 likes for this part. One for Dahl coming up with a great idea of using the vehicle replicator to make the warp matrix, and another for the scene where Hollow Janeway praises him for doing everything he could. Janeway has more success with Gwyn, who builds the device, but we get the reveal that Drednok is in sync with her time frame, and we get a cool fight scene in which Gwyn ejects Drednok into space, but it costs her the device and the time she needs to connect it. During the fight, Drednok deletes Janeway using Chakotay's command codes. Did he steal the command codes last time he was here? Or is there some kind of meta time loop where he is Chakotay? Gwyn uses her remaining time before Core Breach to leave a message for Rock Talk, which is in the Groundhog Day level of slow, to let her know how to make this thing work. I feel really bad for Rock Talk, that she's clearly alone for what could have been years. But I'm giving a like to showing the amount of time that's passed by the amount of Nutrigoo bowls that are in the galley and around the ship, and another like for the Wilson-style Murf doll Rock Talk clearly made to keep this poor girl happy. When she finds Gwyn's message, it gets her the confidence she needs to learn a bunch of math and engineering skills, while also spending an inordinate amount of tries on salvaging Janeway's program, even though not Chakotay deleted her. She saves the ship, gains a massive amount of character development, and gets some newfound respect as more than just the heavy from the crew. We close on seeing that the vehicle replicator has created weird pieces of Drednok. Just give a final like, cue the Terminator theme music, and roll credits. This has exceeded any expectations I've had for a kids show. If I were to rank this episode today and my other show ranking every episode of Trek, I think this one would make it into the top 100 of the entire franchise. I've dinged a few episodes of this series, but so far it's probably the best first season of a Trek show since TOS. It's been a pretty consistent thing, TOS excluded, that it takes 3 seasons for Trek to start getting good, and Prodigy is breaking the mold. A bit of news before we go. Paramount announced this past week that Picard Season 2 will premiere March 3rd, and will get a 3rd season in 2023. Strange New Worlds will premiere May 5th, and has been renewed for a 2nd season. Discovery has been renewed for a 5th season, though it will be brought down to 10 episodes a season like the other shows currently in production. Finally, Lower Decks will get its 3rd season this summer, and has been renewed for a 4th season next year. Seems like we're set up for at least one new Trek episode every week from now till at least July. We'll be back covering the next to last episode of Prodigy's half season next week. I've been your host, Dustin Wing.